Aboard the Grand Command vessel of the Zarkan Empire, a sleek leviathan gliding through the void, the air buzzed with precision and purpose. Commandant Viral stood at the center of the command dais, his mantle of authority glimmering with the bioluminescence unique to his kind. Before him, a vast tactical display projected the blue-green orb of Earth, rotating slowly in perfect stillness. Primitive, Viral muttered, his gaze fixed on the planet. An outlier in the evolutionary arms race. Barely worth the energy to conquer. The council chamber, tiered with Zarkan strategists and advisors, hummed with agreement. Their consensus was clear: Earth posed no significant challenge. A junior analyst, his neural bands glowing faintly as he interfaced with the data stream, spoke with the confidence of irrefutable knowledge. Their civilizations are fragmented. Petty rivalries dominate their history, leaving them incapable of unified action. Their technology is laughable, barely achieving orbital defense systems. They are inefficient. Laughter rippled through the chamber, a deep resonance born of absolute certainty. Viral raised a hand to silence it, though his lipless mouth curled in what passed for amusement among his kind. And their military forces? Scattered. Disorganized. Reliant on brute force and outdated tactics, the analyst replied. A holographic projection appeared, showcasing human military vessels and ground forces. The Zarkan fleet, with its seamless blend of organic and synthetic technology, was clearly superior. A conquest will be swift. A single planetary cycle, perhaps two. Another voice joined, this one belonging to strategist Tyla, known for her methodical brilliance. We face no significant resistance. Their forces cannot comprehend the elegance of Zarkan warfare. And yet, she hesitated, her neural bands dimming briefly as she processed the next report. Viral tilted his head, his curiosity piqued. And yet? There are anomalies, Tyla admitted, activating a new projection. It was a fragmented series of recordings from Zarkan reconnaissance drones, flickering images of what seemed to be human operatives moving with remarkable precision. Buildings collapsed, alien drones flickered out of existence, and entire reconnaissance squads were neutralized with no sign of engagement. Sabotage, Tyla said, her voice clipped. Efficient. Coordinated. And, unlike their standard tactics. A low murmur spread among the council. Viral dismissed it with a wave, his posture betraying no alarm. Anomalies. Outliers. Nothing more. If there is a coordinated human force, it cannot possibly withstand the might of the Zarkan Empire. Another strategist spoke, this one leaning forward as his neural interface glowed with shifting data. We've detected no unified command structure. Their information networks are a patchwork. Any resistance will be isolated and unsustainable. Viral nodded, his confidence unshaken. Precisely. Our fleets will strike at their largest population centers. A decapitation strategy. No leader, no cohesion, no resistance. He turned to the tactical display, issuing commands through subtle gestures. Icons lit up, marking the first wave of the Zarkan fleet's targets. Earth will fall, as all before it have. Prepare the troops for planetary assault. The room buzzed with activity as advisors and strategists finalized plans. To the Zarkans, this was not a battle, it was an inevitability. Viral's voice dropped into a calm, almost meditative tone as he addressed the council. This species is reckless and divided. Their greatest flaw lies in their inability to think beyond themselves. They bicker over resources while the universe passes them by. Their extinction will serve a higher purpose, fueling the progress of the Zarkan Empire. Despite the unified agreement, a faint unease lingered in Tyla's mind as she stared at the enigmatic recordings of human operatives. But she, like her peers, buried the doubt beneath layers of calculated arrogance. Viral's final declaration echoed through the chamber. By this time tomorrow, Earth will be ours. The Zarkan invasion began with precision. From orbit, their crafts descended in synchronized waves, their dark metallic hulls cutting through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. Major cities became their primary targets: New York, Tokyo, Moscow, and others. Massive carriers disgorged legions of biomechanical soldiers onto the ground, spreading out in perfect formation. Alien commanders monitored the operation with clinical detachment, confident that their plan would unravel Earth's defenses before they could even respond. On the ground, chaos erupted. Civilians scattered as towering Zarkan mechs, their segmented limbs gleaming with adaptive armor, crushed vehicles and reduced buildings to rubble. Streets were bathed in eerie, flickering light as energy beams lanced through urban skylines. To the Zarkans, this was not combat but a purge, an efficient sweeping of insignificant resistance. The first wave of human forces that scrambled to meet them was quickly overpowered, armored vehicles reduced to slag, infantry scattered like leaves in the wind. It was precisely as the Zarkan strategists had predicted: quick, decisive, and effortless. But their victory proved short-lived. The cracks in their plan began to show within hours. What they had dismissed as a disorganized rabble soon revealed itself as something far more dangerous. Local human forces, though fractured and outgunned, adapted swiftly. In cities and towns, pockets of resistance formed. Civilian technology, drones, communication networks, and even rudimentary explosives, was repurposed into tools of war. Groups of militia fighters used the dense urban sprawl to their advantage, luring Zarkan squads into ambushes and bottlenecking their forces in narrow alleys. Improvised traps became devastatingly effective. A cargo ship rigged with explosives took out an entire landing craft in a port city. In another instance, a hijacked construction crane dropped tons of steel beams onto a column of alien walkers, crushing them before they could react. The Zarkans, accustomed to orderly engagements, were unprepared for the chaotic unpredictability of guerrilla warfare. Then, as if emerging from the shadows, the tide shifted further. Amid the scattered resistance, a mysterious force began to strike with chilling precision. These weren't local militias or national armies, they were something else entirely. Reports filtered in of a coordinated group operating across multiple theaters of battle, striking Zarkan forces with surgical efficiency. A high-value mech depot was destroyed in one operation, its core detonated with pinpoint precision, leaving only whispers of how it was breached. In another, an alien supply convoy vanished without a trace, the only evidence of its destruction being the smoldering craters where the vehicles had stood. At the center of these operations was an elite strike force, a multinational unit formed in secret years before the invasion. This group had trained for precisely this moment, anticipating humanity's first contact with a hostile extraterrestrial force. They moved like ghosts, leveraging cutting-edge technology and unconventional tactics. Their attacks were devastatingly effective, dismantling Zarkan operations from within while remaining unseen. Among their ranks was a sniper known only as Spectre, a name whispered in the field with equal parts awe and mystery. With unparalleled precision, they targeted alien commanders from impossible distances, their shots disrupting Zarkan coordination at critical moments. Another operative, a cyber warfare expert codenamed Cypher, hacked into Zarkan systems, turning their own drones against them and creating chaos in their ranks. Each member of the team brought unique skills, but together, they embodied something the Zarkans could neither predict nor counter: human ingenuity at its finest. In orbit, Viral and his council began to notice the irregularities in their campaign. Reports of disrupted supply lines and inexplicably neutralized units grew more frequent. At first, they dismissed these incidents as statistical anomalies. But as the hours passed, their confidence began to waver. Strategist Tyla, now overseeing the invasion's logistical data, struggled to reconcile the overwhelming evidence of a coordinated resistance with the assumption that Earth's forces were incapable of such organization. "This is not random," Tyla stated, her voice sharp with uncharacteristic tension. "These are coordinated attacks. They are targeting our supply chains, our command units. This is calculated." Another council member scoffed. A desperate species flailing against inevitability. They are delaying the inevitable. Tyla's neural bands pulsed erratically, a sign of suppressed irritation. Delay is disruption. Disruption breeds inefficiency. Inefficiency costs victory. On the ground, the Zarkan soldiers began to feel the mounting pressure. Their adaptive armor, designed to counter predictable threats, struggled against the unconventional weapons deployed by human fighters. Alien patrols found themselves ambushed by makeshift mines hidden beneath rubble, their sleek mech units caught in collapses engineered by demolitions experts. What had once been a precise operation now devolved into firefights in the urban maze, where the humans seemed to blend into the very environment. Viral watched the reports with growing frustration. They are animals, he spat. Cornered and desperate. Yet, effective. Below his command dais, holographic projections flickered with images of the elite strike force's handiwork. Tyla pointed to the recurring patterns. This is not desperation. This is adaptation. They are studying us, learning our methods, exploiting our blind spots. Viral's gaze hardened as he leaned over the display. Then we will eliminate them. Deploy the annihilation squads. These humans will learn the price of resistance. Even as his words echoed through the chamber, Viral couldn't suppress the faint, unwelcome thought that his one certain conquest was no longer as simple as he had believed. The elite strike force, codenamed Vanguard, operated in the shadows, a product of years of clandestine preparation by Earth's most advanced nations. Comprised of hand-picked operatives from across the globe, their skills were as diverse as their origins. Each member brought something unique to the battlefield, but together, they were a seamless unit, bonded by trust and an unwavering commitment to protect humanity. Vanguard's arsenal was a fusion of cutting-edge human technology and reverse-engineered alien tech recovered from early reconnaissance missions. Lightweight exosuits enhanced their strength and agility, allowing them to move with fluid precision. Neural-linked helmets provided instantaneous communication and augmented reality overlays, highlighting weak points in alien structures and marking targets. Their weapons ranged from plasma-adapted rifles to silent, EMP-laced blades designed to dismantle Zarkan machines at close range. Each operative carried specialized gear, tailored to their expertise, making them unpredictable to their enemies. Their current mission was the boldest yet: infiltrate a Zarkan battleship in low orbit and disable its central command systems. The target, designated Apex, was the linchpin of the alien invasion, coordinating troop movements and supply chains across the planet. Without it, the Zarkan forces would be thrown into disarray. Vanguard's approach was surgical. Cypher, the team's cyber warfare specialist, led the infiltration. As their shuttle latched onto the Apex's hull, she bypassed its detection systems with a custom virus designed to mimic Zarkan code. The airlock hissed open, and the team slipped inside, their suits absorbing the faint glow of the alien corridors. Inside, the atmosphere pulsed with a strange, bioluminescent rhythm, and the walls seemed alive, shifting subtly as the ship adjusted to its intruders. The team moved with practiced silence, guided by Commander Bishop, a veteran strategist whose calm demeanor masked a razor-sharp mind. His whispered commands steered the operatives through the labyrinthine passages toward the ship's core. Spectre, the sniper, took point when they reached the first resistance. A patrol of Zarkan soldiers moved with mechanical precision, unaware of the danger stalking them. In a heartbeat, Spectre's plasma-silenced rifle fired 3 shots, each finding its mark with unerring accuracy. The bodies fell before the Zarkans could raise the alarm. As they advanced deeper, Cypher's skills became critical. The ship's defenses began to adapt, sealing doors and deploying automated turrets. She moved with speed and precision, her fingers dancing over the holographic interface of her wrist-mounted console. Turrets deactivated, doors unlocked, and surveillance systems looped false images. Each obstacle was neutralized in seconds, keeping the mission on track. When they reached the central core, the stakes heightened. The chamber was a pulsating nexus of alien machinery, its heart a massive, glowing orb that radiated energy. Bishop divided the team into two groups, one to secure the perimeter and the other to plant the virus that would cripple the ship's systems. As Vanguard worked, the Zarkans finally realized their presence. Reinforcements flooded the corridors, their movements a relentless wave of coordinated aggression. The perimeter team, led by Sergeant Vega, held the line with a mix of deadly efficiency and raw determination. Vega's grenades created temporary barricades, forcing the Zarkans to regroup, while Spectre's shots picked off high-value targets from the shadows. At the core, Cypher and Bishop worked against the clock. Cypher's virus was sophisticated but required time to breach the ship's adaptive defenses. The tension was palpable as the alien energy surged, attempting to counteract her intrusion. Bishop's calm voice steadied her nerves as he coordinated their escape plan, knowing reinforcements could overwhelm them at any moment. Then it happened, a breach in the perimeter. A Zarkan shock trooper, heavily armored and wielding a plasma lance, broke through. It moved with terrifying speed, bearing down on Cypher just as the virus completed its upload. Without hesitation, Vega intercepted the trooper, grappling it away from her. His exosuit groaned under the strain as he activated a self-destruct mechanism on his armor. "Get out of here!" Vega shouted, his voice steady despite the inevitability of his sacrifice. Bishop hesitated for only a moment before ordering the team to retreat. The explosion that followed was deafening, the light searing, and the corridor collapsed behind them, sealing their escape route. Cypher's sob was stifled by her helmet as Bishop's firm hand guided her forward. There was no time to grieve. The virus took effect as they reached their extraction point. The ship's lights flickered, and its systems began to cascade into failure. Automated turrets turned on their own troops, doors locked Zarkan reinforcements out of critical zones, and communications fell into chaos. The Apex, once a symbol of Zarkan dominance, was now a crippled hulk spiraling out of control. In orbit, Commandant Viral watched the feeds in stunned silence. The Apex's status reports turned into incomprehensible gibberish, and the fleet's movements faltered without its coordination. Strategist Tyla broke the silence, her voice tinged with something almost resembling awe. This was no accident. This was deliberate. Viral's mandibles tightened. A strike force. Human operatives, he growled. They used our own systems against us. The council chamber erupted in heated debate. Some argued for an immediate retaliatory strike, while others demanded a withdrawal to reassess their strategy. Viral's confidence, so unshakable at the invasion's outset, now teetered. They are adaptable, he admitted reluctantly, the word bitter on his tongue. And far more dangerous than we anticipated. Tyla's gaze remained fixed on the spiraling wreck of the Apex. They think in ways we cannot predict, she said softly. They act on instincts we dismiss as weaknesses, emotions, sacrifice, creativity. We underestimated them. For the first time, the Zarkan Empire felt the sting of fear. The Zarkan Empire, stung by the catastrophic loss of the Apex, retaliated with unprecedented fury. Their most advanced weapons descended upon Earth's remaining strongholds, massive orbital cannons capable of leveling entire cities in one strike. Major urban centers became infernos, and even heavily fortified bunkers were vaporized under their relentless assault. The Zarkans believed this escalation would break humanity's spirit and force their submission. Instead, it ignited a resolve stronger than ever. On the ground, Vanguard regrouped amidst the chaos. Their next mission was ambitious to the point of madness: infiltrate the Zarkan flagship Dominion, the central hub of their invasion fleet. If the Dominion fell, the entire alien operation would collapse. The risks were unimaginable, but Commander Bishop laid out the plan with calm determination, rallying his team for one final strike. From their base of operations, a reinforced underground bunker hidden beneath the ruins of a city, they coordinated with global resistance forces. Nations that had once been adversaries now worked in seamless unity. Engineers in Europe devised countermeasures for the Zarkan orbital cannons, while cyber specialists in Asia patched into alien communication networks, feeding critical intel to the strike teams. In the Americas, supply lines stretched across continents, providing Vanguard and other units with the resources they needed to fight back. For the first time in history, humanity stood as one, united by a common enemy. As Vanguard launched their assault on the Dominion, tension gripped both sides of the conflict. On board the flagship, Commandant Viral and his council monitored the battlefield with growing unease. Despite deploying their most sophisticated weapons, the humans continued to resist. Worse, the adaptability that had already cost them the apex was now evident across every theater of war. Improvised human strategies disrupted supply chains and thwarted coordinated strikes. Even isolated pockets of resistance refused to yield, inflicting damage disproportionate to their numbers. "Why won't they fall?" one strategist snarled, slamming a clawed fist against the console. "They are unorthodox," Tyler replied, her neural bands dimming as she processed the latest reports. "We underestimated their unpredictability. They adapt faster than we can counter. Adaptation is irrelevant when faced with annihilation." Viral barked, though his voice betrayed an edge of desperation. Even as the alien commanders debated their next move, Vanguard breached the Dominion's outer defenses. Cypher disabled key surveillance systems, while Spectre neutralized sentries with silent, precise shots. The team moved swiftly through the labyrinthine halls of the ship, their every step a race against time. Their objective was clear: reach the flagship's core and disable its command systems, mirroring their success aboard the Apex. But the Zarkans had learned from their losses. The Dominion's corridors shifted dynamically, sealing off access points and rerouting intruders into ambushes. Automated defenses adapted to human tactics, forcing Vanguard to think on their feet. "Plan B," Bishop ordered, his voice calm despite the mounting danger. Cypher began reprogramming a captured alien drone, while Vega's replacement, a demolitions expert named Kess, rigged charges to breach the reinforced walls. Meanwhile, Spectre provided cover, her rifle picking off enemies as they closed in. The alien commanders, watching from the bridge, grew increasingly alarmed. The humans had already disabled several key systems, and their path to the core was clear. "This is impossible," one strategist muttered. "They should not have penetrated this far." Tyla, her composure faltering for the first time, replied quietly, "They don't rely on logic alone. Their choices are driven by something we cannot quantify: determination, creativity, desperation. And weakness," Viral hissed. "They fight because they have no alternative. We will crush them with superior force." But even Viral's confidence wavered as reports of the ground war filtered in. Across the planet, human forces were rallying. Engineers and improvised workshops developed countermeasures to alien weapons, turning scavenged Zarkan tech into tools of resistance. Pilots in retrofitted jets engaged alien crafts, their daring maneuvers outmatching the precision of Zarkan pilots. Entire cities, once on the brink of collapse, became fortresses of defiance, their inhabitants fighting with an ingenuity that defied the Zarkan playbook. Back aboard the Dominion, Vanguard reached the core. The chamber pulsed with an otherworldly glow, its walls alive with the shifting patterns of alien energy. Cypher's virus would take minutes to upload, time they didn't have as Zarkan reinforcements closed in. "We'll hold them," Bishop declared, dividing the team. Spectre and Kess fortified the entrance, their combined firepower keeping the enemy at bay. Cypher worked with frantic precision, her hands shaking as she bypassed the core's adaptive defenses. The turning point came not from technology but from sheer human grit. As the reinforcements pressed harder, Kess ran out of ammunition. In a split-second decision, she activated a remaining charge and hurled it into the oncoming wave, buying Cypher the precious seconds she needed. The virus deployed, and the core's glow flickered violently. The entire ship shuddered as its systems began to collapse. Lights dimmed, and alien defenses turned against their operators. In the chaos, Vanguard made their escape, sprinting toward the extraction point as the Dominion tore itself apart. On the bridge, Viral watched in stunned silence as his flagship's systems failed. Screens flickered with static, and the once unbreakable coordination of his fleet dissolved into chaos. "We must retreat," Tyla urged, her voice trembling. "We've lost control." Viral's mandibles clenched as he weighed his options. Pride demanded he press on, but the tactical reality was undeniable. Without the Dominion, the Zarkan fleet was vulnerable, its command structure crippled. Reluctantly, he gave the order. "Fall back. Regroup." The Zarkan fleet began its retreat, their once mighty invasion reduced to scattered remnants. On Earth, cheers erupted as the alien crafts disappeared from the skies. Humanity had turned the tide, not through brute force but through unity, ingenuity, and an unyielding will to survive. For Vanguard, the mission's success was bittersweet. The losses they'd endured weighed heavily, but their victory symbolized something greater: humanity's refusal to bow, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The alien fleet, battered and humiliated, limped away from Earth in disarray. Smoke trailed from crippled ships, and the once coordinated maneuvers of the Zarkan armada had devolved into frantic retreat. What was meant to be a swift conquest had turned into a resounding failure, and for the first time in centuries, the Zarkan Empire tasted defeat. Aboard the remaining command vessel, Commandant Viral stood silently before a holographic display of Earth, his pride now eclipsed by bitter realization. The humans, dismissed as disorganized and primitive, had proven to be more formidable than anyone in the Empire could have anticipated. Their resilience, creativity, and capacity for sacrifice defied the Zarkan's cold calculations. "We underestimated them," Viral muttered, his voice hollow. "We thought them fractured, predictable, weak, but their strength lies in their chaos." Strategist Tyla, weary from the relentless failure, added, "Their unity in crisis defies logic. They find strength in what we consider flaws, emotions, irrationality, desperation. These traits make them unpredictable and, therefore, dangerous." Viral nodded grimly. "Earth will not be an easy conquest. If we return, it must be with far greater caution and respect." He activated his log, addressing his superiors back in the Empire. "To the High Council, I submit this report with grave concern. Earth is not as weak as we thought. Its inhabitants are resourceful, resilient, and capable of defying even the might of our fleets. Any future campaigns must account for their unpredictable nature. They are a threat unlike any we've faced before." As the alien ships vanished into the stars, the Earth below erupted in celebrations. Cities that had been reduced to rubble saw the flicker of hope in bonfires and makeshift banners. Across continents, people emerged from underground shelters, hugging loved ones and weeping tears of relief. Humanity, bruised and bloodied, stood victorious. At the heart of the victory, Vanguard returned to their hidden base, unnoticed by the public but hailed as heroes by the military and global leadership. Their success was to remain classified. The world wasn't ready to know the full extent of the extraterrestrial threat or the existence of the elite unit that had defended them. In a somber debriefing, Commander Bishop stood before his team, their faces a mix of pride and exhaustion. "We did what we came to do," he said, his voice steady but heavy with the weight of their losses. "The world will never know our names, but they'll feel the impact of what we've done." This wasn't just a victory for Vanguard, it was a victory for humanity. Cypher, still haunted by the loss of their comrades, whispered, "It doesn't feel like enough." "It rarely does," Bishop replied. "But it's a start." The aftermath of the invasion sparked an unprecedented era of global unity. Nations that had once been adversaries now pledged to work together, building on the alliances formed during the conflict. Resources were pooled, technologies shared, and plans drafted for Earth's defense against future threats. The United Earth Defense Initiative was born, a coalition dedicated to ensuring humanity would never again be caught unprepared. The scientific community, bolstered by the reverse-engineered alien technology, made rapid advancements in energy, medicine, and space exploration. The scars of war remained, but they served as reminders of humanity's capacity to rise above adversity and turn tragedy into opportunity. Across the globe, monuments were erected in memory of those who had fallen, their sacrifices ensuring the survival of the species. In schools, children learned not just of the devastation but of the resilience and ingenuity that had defined the human response. The phrase, "We fight as one," became a mantra, a symbol of the unity forged in the crucible of war. Meanwhile, aboard the distant Zarkan fleet, the aftermath of failure weighed heavily. Viral's log, transmitted across light years, reached the Empire's core worlds. It was a stark warning to a civilization accustomed to domination: Earth was no ordinary world, and its people were no ordinary prey. In his final entry, Viral reflected on what had been lost, not just ships and soldiers but the Empire's veneer of invincibility. We believed ourselves superior in every way. We dismissed their emotions as liabilities and their chaos as weakness. But it is precisely these traits that make them formidable. They are unpredictable, and their will to survive is unparalleled. Earth is a proving ground, and its inhabitants are warriors of a kind we have never faced before. His final words were etched into the Zarkan record, a dire warning to any who might seek to return. Underestimate them again, and it will be the end of us. Back on Earth, the dust began to settle. Vanguard disbanded temporarily, their members scattering to new missions or returning to lives as ordinary as their roles allowed. Bishop, standing alone on a windswept ridge overlooking a rebuilt city, considered the cost of their victory. Humanity had survived its greatest test yet, but the fight wasn't over. Somewhere in the vastness of space, the Zarkans would regroup. Others might follow, drawn by Earth's defiance. But humanity would be ready. The story of the invasion became both a warning and an inspiration. It was a reminder that the strength of humanity lay not in its technology or armies but in its unity, adaptability, and unyielding spirit. And as the stars twinkled above, their secrets yet unknown, the world looked to the future with cautious hope. Humanity had faced the darkness and prevailed, proving once and for all that Earth was no easy target.